I use both hands just because you're going to be doing like that. Like where the ball goes, you go. That's easy. And then if somebody's injured or something, zoom in at the BW and I'll put up an animation on the board or something. If somebody gets injured in that direction or way down there, aim it to the middle of the field. Or if somebody gets hurt, like towards the middle, put it on the side. Just get it off the injury. Alright? Yeah. Just you don't want to see that on the big screen. Yeah.
How much of a shoes cost you? I figured.
Yeah. I have a lot of Jordans, man. I love them, so I don't care how much they cost.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Don't sit that down, man. It's very expensive.
Discount, right?
Yep, that's the one you're running. Yep, and just try to pay attention. We had last game, we had someone, like, I know some people wondering, but we had someone fall asleep and the camera was like down here for the whole, for a while, you know, and I mean, and we had a couple complaints, so just try to make sure. Just try to stay awake. I know it's tough.
I'm staying up.
This one might be a little more exciting with these two teams, but we'll see.
Oh, so.
Alright. Yeah, when you're done, I'll probably, at halftime, just keep it zoomed in the middle here because we're going to do serious
I'll
thing.
zoom. I'll do that. Do I zoom during the game or
No,
no?
you don't have to. If you want to get fancy and do it, you can. It's right here.
Which one?
But it's this top piece right here. Just
That's tough.
yeah, if you wanted to, but don't.
No, that's them corner kicks.
Duh.
I probably had to zoom in on.
Yeah,
Oh,
you won't get this corner.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you wanted to zoom in the score or something, but make sure when
Baldwin Wallace
soccer's a lot
University,
better.
the Ohio Athletic Conference, and the National Collegiate Athletic Association prohibit the sale and/or consumption of any alcoholic beverage in or within the confines of Tressel Field at the George Finnie Stadium. Tressel Field is designated as a non-smoking facility. We ask that you refrain from smoking while in the stadium. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. The NCAA and the Ohio Athletic Conference promote good sportsmanship by demonstrating respect for all student athletes, coaches, officials, and fans. Fan ridicule of the opposition is strictly prohibited. Degrading remarks will not be tolerated. Be proud, be loud, and be positive. Thank you.
Coming to you live from George Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside our coverage of Senior Day, the final day of the regular season for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets on the women's soccer side of things. We are ready for a really important matchup for BW with the Capital Crusaders from Bexley down near Columbus. Brendan Gulick and Jeff Miller with you. Looking forward to a fun game today. It's all on the line for BW because they've already clinched a spot in the OAC tournament this week. But if they win, they will have a shot to be the 5 seed, a loss or a draw, and they're the 6 seed. They would then have to go play at Mount Union, and there is a potential rematch between these two teams in the waiting here in just a few days. There's a lot to play for. Capital's already locked down the 2 seed.
Definitely right there, Brendan. Capital doesn't have a chance to move up to get a co-share of the lead, so now it's just playing for pride, playing to see who they're going to have to face on Tuesday night, or excuse me, they'll play on Thursday night as the 2 top seeds get a first-round bye.
Well, the Capital Crusaders found themselves in second place at the end of the regular season behind the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, who were just here a couple of days ago. They are the OAC regular season champions, and they finished the regular season at 14-3. So the Polar Bears have some momentum going into the conference tournament. It's Senior Day for the Jackets, who are 10-8-1. They are 4-4 in conference play, and either Baldwin Wallace or John Carroll will be the 5 and 6 seed. Again, that is determined by how Baldwin Wallace fares against these Crusaders today, who take a 9-6-1 overall record, but a really strong 6-1-1 mark in conference play, with that lone loss coming to Ohio Northern and a tie back with Mount Union a couple of weeks ago. Yellow Jackets will be in the white tops and white shorts. They'll move from left to right in the opening half. And Capital has their favorite visiting jerseys on, the purple and silver stripes, as they'll go from right to left. It is an unbelievably warm day in northeast Ohio, given that it's October 29th. It's still 69 degrees outside under mostly cloudy skies. Off and going, the Crusaders take the ball first. Dusty Matthews, our head official. He's assisted today by John Talley and Vicente Suarez. Starting lineups today for the Yellow Jackets. In goal, the freshman Sophia Widener, who has certainly played well this year. She is making what would be her 13th start of the season. She and Emma Bruno have really seen a lot of playing time in 2016. For the most part, it's a bunch of seniors and a few other players filled in here and there. Lauren Haynham, Bree Osborne, Rachel Bender, the team's leading scorer and potential conference player of the year. Kelly Goff, Alex Elliott, Anna Popdick, Kristen Lee, Kara Painter, Cassandra Wakeman, and Allie Lakey, all starting today for the Jackets. On the Capital side of things, in net, they've got a sophomore and a really good player in Hannah Klotsky. Caroline Hester, Claire Quinn, Chloe Brown, Becca Cartmill, Jordan Feike, Monique Haneke, Caitlin Semmelsberger, Mary Bushy, Erin Bernard, and Maggie Petticore. Those are the 11 that Capital will send out as we have a Baldwin Wallace goal kick. Jeff, how about a couple keys to the match as the Yellow Jackets try to lock down that 5 seed?
Well, as it starts off here with a senior-laden group, you're not going to see your normal attacking offense that you would see with Courtney Schutz being out there, being the junior that she is, giving the chance for the seniors. So the Yellow Jackets will go through Schutz and Elliott to get the ball up top. They usually play quickly out of the back, and their strong defense. Crusaders probably will just stick to what they're best at and try to just control the ball and take this game and just go into the momentum with the lead. I know you were saying earlier about Rachel Bender potentially being the conference player of the year. She only needs 1 goal to tie the conference leader who did not score today in Mount Union, but she leads in points scored and is second in assists.
Just to give you an idea, too, at how impressive the year has been for Rachel Bender, should she be on a Division I team, she would actually lead the country in goals scored at 18. So Rachel Bender has had a tremendously successful season at Baldwin Wallace, and again, it's not locked down. She's a sophomore and she's a tremendous player, but you have to think that she's going to be awfully high on the balloting for the Conference Player of the Year. We've got a corner kick coming far side for Capital. Game's about 3 minutes in. And if you're BW, you have to be careful because you just played a game earlier this week against another really talented team in Ohio Northern. And the Polar Bears scored in the 4th and 13th minutes of that game. Baldwin Wallace eventually lost the game 2-1. And so they put themselves kind of behind the 8 ball early. It's a low corner coming to the top of the box. Footed down and blocked a couple of times. Becca Cartmill, the closest there. And Baldwin Wallace will pull it away. See how quickly they could mount a counterattack as Rachel Bender goes streaking up the sideline. Bushy really closing down on her. Bender with a centering pass, but the offside flag goes up.
Pretty impressive that you said there about Bender could be the leading scorer in Division I. That 2 Division III players in Nicole Lanise from Mount Union and Bender would be the 1-2 punch in all of Division I. That's pretty impressive for 2 Division III soccer players.
Yeah, the UConn women's soccer team has 2 really good players in Stephanie Ribeiro and Rachel Hill. They're 2 potential All-Americans. I think it's almost silly to say the word potential because the season's not over, but those 2 players have had outstanding seasons at the Division I level up at UConn in Storrs, Connecticut, but neither of them have enough. I'm pretty sure Ribeiro has 17 goals on the season. And so she leads the country at Division I, and Rachel Bender would be 1 goal higher than that. So anyways, kind of a cool feather for her to tuck in her cap. We'll see if she can add to her tally here tonight. Capital had the early good look, but Baldwin Wallace has moved the ball up the field a couple of times as we approach the 6th minute of action. Ball kind of awkwardly kicked in the top of the box. Not too much came of that. Easily rolled away by Sophia Widener. Once again, though, Capital on a beautiful shot from the right side. Ball's deflected away, and we have another corner kick coming.
Capital keeping the pressure on the Yellow Jacket defense is one of the keys I said in the pregame, that they're going to have to rely on their strong defenders with the senior in Goff. So it's going to be a questionable time for the Yellow Jackets right here on a second corner kick early in this first half.
That was Jordan Fike with the kick on that far side that was deflected away. Now the corner kick coming in. We're back on the far side. Cartmill lobs it toward the corner. Down in front of the box, dangerous territory, and it's knocked free. Well, Monique Haneke was right there for Capital. Thankfully, defensively, Kelly Goff was able to knock it out of a dangerous spot. Nevertheless, here come the Crusaders once again on the march. Rolled out of bounds and a Capital throw in. 39 minutes, 17 seconds left in the first half. No score yet on the final game of the regular season. Both of these teams have already decided that they will play in the OAC postseason tournament next week. Not a bad idea coming on that far side with that shot, but off the mark, wide of the net to the right, off of Caroline Hester's foot.
Going to see that the Capital Crusaders aren't going to let the BW defense set. They're going to take quick shots against them and try to catch the freshman goalkeeper on her heels. Another quick look by the Crusaders, just goes high, but another corner kick awarded. It must have won off a BW defender there to award the corner kick.
Sorry, the 3rd corner kick of the game for the Capital Crusaders, who are taking their good old time getting to that far corner. I think maybe it's because the ball hadn't made its way over there yet. Anyways, the senior defender from Sydney, Ohio, Monique Haneke. She will make the effort on the kick into the box.
Might be the issue, Brendan, that our ball boy is dressed up as, I'm not sure what he is, if he's a kangaroo or a chicken, but happy Halloween here at Finnie Stadium by our ball boy.
Goff knocks it free with her head. It's funny you bring that up. I have to admit I didn't even notice it until you said so. He almost looks like he's dressed like a chicken. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's a chicken with a bow tie on. It's creative.
Maybe it's Mr. Chicken night here at the stadium.
Gotta love chicken with a bow tie. So a free kick coming. Baldwin Wallace has played pretty well at home this season, 5-2. A couple of home losses, of course. One of those came just a few days ago against the Ohio Northern Polar Bears.
Definite tough way for the Yellow Jackets to go out with a 1-2 punch, the OAC leader and the runner-up on your final week at home.
There's no doubt that's a difficult schedule at the back half. Although the Yellow Jackets have to be happy with the way they've started the game so far, as Kara Painter pressured the ball a little bit. Here's Bernard making her way toward the middle. I don't think she really controlled that one the way she hoped. Knocked free, no problem. Moved around in the back by Semmelsberger. Nice little feed pass for Bushy, but the ball rolls out of bounds.
Capitals definitely kept the pressure on here. BW's had one really good look deep in the Crusader defense, but it's been mostly in the BW end.
Almost 10 minutes in. So far, we are scoreless. Final tune-up before the conference tournament for both teams. Obviously, both have OAC title hopes on the line, and if you win the conference tournament, you'll solidify a bid to the NCAA postseason tournament. Just judging by the overall records for these two teams entering play today and their quality of wins throughout the year, it is highly unlikely that they would receive an at-large bid should they not win the OAC tournament. So that's really what they're playing for here at this point of the season as Goff sends it back forward.
Very tough region that we're in with the number 4 team in the country and Thomas More.
Thomas Moore's been unbelievable.
Wittenberg is 2 in our region, so not sure you want to be coming out of the OAC because you're probably going to one of those 2 sites right away.
Well, Capitals faced both of those 2 teams. They lost 3-0 to Thomas More back on the second game of the year on September the 5th. And 2 games later, they played Wittenberg and fell 2-1. They've also played a couple of NCAC schools down in the Columbus area. Played Ohio Wesleyan back on September 27th, and that was a nice 4-1 win. They also played Kenyon, played DePauw from the NCAC, and the Crusaders really challenged themselves early in the season. They lost the game 1-0 in their season opener, but they lost to Wisconsin Whitewater back on September the 1st, so they opened the year with 2 top 10 teams. Second-year head coach Matt Ogden is not afraid for his Crusaders to go out there and really challenge themselves. Goff with a nice kick from near midfield all the way to the top of the 18, but Capital does not budge defensively.
Sounded like a common theme, too, because we were talking about it Tuesday night. Ohio Northern and Capital both played Thomas More and Wittenberg early on in the year, trying to get those quality wins.
Nicely played back into the box by Wakeman. Trying to find the feet of Rachel Bender, though she's on the far side at the moment. And we have a Yellow Jacket throw-in coming. Just over 34 minutes left. No score in the first half. All of the other games across the conference today have been completed, and all 10 teams in the OAC today were in action. We'll get you those scores here in just a moment. 3 of those games were earlier this afternoon at 1 o'clock starts, and then I think across the way, John Carroll had a 4 o'clock game, but all 4 previous games have been decided by now. And we did have one scoreless tie.
Otterbein knocked off Marietta 3-0 in Marietta.
Okay.
Mount Union. Oh, excuse me, I'm looking at 2 Wednesday nights action. Wilmington
Shot in there by Hester, picked up okay.
Heidelberg beat Wilmington at home 2-0. Otterbein and Mount Union played to that double overtime draw. Ohio Northern easily took care of Marietta 4-0. And then John Carroll beat Muskingum by a score of 4-1.
So those are your finals heading in here, as Rachel Bender was behind the last defender, so the flag is waved. So Ohio Northern will be the number 1 seed in the tournament. Capital, no matter what, will be the number 2 seed in the tournament. Then you're looking at Mount Union as the 3rd seed. Following Mount Union, you've got Otterbein seeded 4th. Those 2 teams are already locked in. And then you have either Baldwin Wallace or John Carroll, depending on how this game goes, as the 5 and 6 seeds. Far side, good defense, but Cartmill steps through it, and the ball rolls across the end line. So Ohio Northern, Capital, Mount Union, Otterbein, Baldwin Wallace, and John Carroll are scheduled to be the 6 teams playing in postseason action, meaning Marietta, Heidelberg, Wilmington, and Muskingum will miss the postseason fun. Just to run through the scenarios with you as the ball is volleyed around near midfield. We'll do that in just a second as Hester came forward with it. So if the Yellow Jackets win this game and they become the 5 seed, they're going to go to Otterbein down in Westerville, Ohio. And if they beat the Otterbein Cardinals, then they would go to Ada and play the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, who were just in town earlier this week. If the Yellow Jackets draw or lose tonight's game, as Poptic tried to step in the way far side, instead, nice little move from Fike, and she rips a shot almost into the net. Widener barely kept her paws on it and did not let the ball roll across the line. Beautiful stop. Anyways, if the Jackets lose or draw this game and they fall to the 6th seed in the tournament, then they will have to go down to Alliance and play at Mount Union this week for a chance to go down to Bexley and play this same Capital team in the OAC semifinals. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first round of games is Tuesday, correct?
Women's tournament is Tuesday. Monday night is the men's tournament.
Okay.
And the volleyball tournament is on Tuesday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday would be the games. And 2 o'clock is the championship on Saturday, depending on if, just in case, if you say it right now, Ohio Northern, whose men are the number 1 or the 2nd seed in the conference, somehow John Carroll gets upset that they both would be at home on the same day, so it would probably be a doubleheader at 2 and 4.
Fought forward down into the corner, it rolls across the end line. Just goes to show that there is a distinct advantage if you are the 1 or 2 seed, because think about it this way, folks. Those 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds, Mount Union, Otterbein, BW, John Carroll, they're playing today. They're playing Tuesday. 2 of them will play on Thursday. And if you win Thursday, then you play on Saturday. That's 4 games in a week. That certainly is not going to put you at full strength by the time you get toward the tournament championship. It's going to do a lot on you from a fatigue standpoint. And the Yellow Jackets have their first corner kick of the game. We've played just over a quarter of an hour. No score yet, and this might be Baldwin Wallace's best chance so far. We'll see who goes out there to take the corner kick. Anna Poptic was in the area, and then she totally ran away from it. Well, Wakeman will be the one to take it instead. She leans into it. Nicely hit into the middle of the box. Headed free by Capital. And the Crusaders are off and running. Well controlled there with the chest. Keeping the ball at her feet and in her possession. Jordan Fike was pushed off the ball, and she hit the turf pretty hard. And we've got a free kick coming. A late whistle, but I think an appropriate one. Waiting to see if there was a card issued on that play. Well, looks like there was not. That's a good thing. Low line drive off Claire Quinn's foot. And Widener kept it in front. Again, it's a warm night at Finnie Stadium. Temperatures all day in Northeast Ohio were hovering in the mid-70s. Kind of an Indian summer. Of course, a play on words, and yet, with the Cleveland Indians playing in the World Series, it almost seems appropriate. An awkward bounce there, and Fike was able to come up with it anyways. She unleashes just wide left. Beg your pardon, that was actually Becca Cartmill. Fike and Cartmill both forwards. Cartmill, the senior, from Temecula, California, and she really ripped that one wide left.
Capital's really starting to pepper Widener in the goal.
So Goff sends it up. I think that's probably one of Baldwin Wallace's best weapons, and I'm sure they know that, but the play of Kelly Goff as their striker in the back, she really does an excellent job getting the ball out of the defense, playing right in the heart of the middle.
That's why she's been a 2-time Great Lakes region selection and a 2-time first-team All-OAC selection, and she was the Defender of the Year in the conference as a sophomore.
No doubt she was worthy of those awards. Hard tackle coming in, but Goff goes over and clears that ball away. When she leans into it, Kelly Goff really sends it pretty firmly wide of the side of the field. So throw-in coming for Bushy. Comes right back to her, and Capital will throw in again. Almost 20 minutes into the game, no score yet. Fike tried to fight her way around a defender. Kristen Lee wouldn't give way, though. Fike turns the corner for a moment, centers the ball, finds the foot of Hester. Lob toward the box and deflected toward the keeper. Nothing doing. Not a huge surprise that both of these two teams played pretty well at home, but it's Capital who has really struggled on the road. 2-3-1. I certainly would expect that a team of their caliber might find some better success away from their home field, as Bender found herself offside. I beg your pardon, that was not Bender, but I believe it was Alex Elliott on the far side.
Going back to the conference tournament, Brendan, that either where they end up, if it's Mount Union or down at Otterbein, BW played very close games against both of them, losing to Mount Union 1-0 and losing to Otterbein by a score of 3-2 in overtime. So it's going to be an interesting Tuesday night wherever they end up playing.
Well, the other side of the argument, too, that might be in Baldwin Wallace's favor, both of the matchups they played with those two teams this season were on the road. So maybe a little bit of familiarity. You show up to a road environment, you have a feeling for what it's going to be like. Obviously, the Otterbein game was just a week ago.
On a Friday night.
It was kind of an odd one, Friday night in Westerville. Well, nicely defended clear. We'll get you caught up on how all the other Baldwin Wallace fall sports had performed here this weekend. Touch on that a little bit later in the broadcast, but the football team was on the road earlier today. Volleyball is getting ready for the conference tournament next week as well, as Widener comes in on one big hop and sweeps it up. In fact, the football team today played an overtime game. We'll tell you all about it later on in the broadcast.
The superstitions of Widener in goal, I don't see him tonight. She's not grabbing her punting leg sock before she punts tonight. It's the first time all year I haven't seen her go down, grab her sock, pull it up, or rub it. And maybe it's not falling down, but then she kicks it.
We'll have to keep our eye on that. Well, Schutz is on her way into the ball game. She certainly is the most notable of the subs. Marissa Fabrizi checking in, and Corey Miller, the junior, also out onto the field. They replace Allie Lakey and Kara Painter. Let's see if we can pick up who the third one off was. Might be Wakeman. I'll have to check. Anyways, Capital maintains possession, which for the most part in the first half they've had. There's that good energy from Corey Miller right as she comes off the bench. Reed Ayers has been doing this at Baldwin Wallace now for more than a decade. He's got a pretty good feel for when to bring on fresh legs and when to let the current group go out there and push the tempo. Halfway through the first half, no score yet as Baldwin Wallace defends their home field on senior night.
Another thing the team is playing for Coach Reed Ayers could win his 150th career BW women's game here tonight, or if they somehow don't pull it off, next week in the tournament.
We'll certainly keep our eye on that. Of course, Reed Ayers has got himself an awfully big task, and it's one at this point in his career I'm sure he's used to. It probably has more to do with scheduling conflicts than anything else. But he is both the women's and men's soccer coaches at Baldwin Wallace. And anytime you got to work with two different, I thought that was fairly clear cut that the ball was over the line by a solid 2 yards, but it took a while for the whistle to blow. Anyways, when you're the head coach at two different programs, it certainly makes for an interesting and very busy fall.
Definitely, he relies a lot on his associate head coach, Louis Rocco, a BW grad who was on the men's team for Reed when he played here, and Jim Woykin for the women's team for sure. Louis does a lot with both teams, but Jim is the go-to guy for Reed with the women's team. He definitely is the guy that does a lot of the recruiting, and that's the one that's here with the girls when sometimes the guys are playing at the same time.
Ball's on the far side of the field. Played ahead, but it's not too dangerous for Capital. Jeff, since you've had a chance to play, obviously, for a little longer than I had, how important is it in your eyes to have that kind of continuity on the coaching staff where, as a head coach, you don't really even have to think about what your assistants are doing. You just know that they're going to run the program the right way.
I think it's definitely something for Reed, especially with both teams, that he relies on these guys. That if he has to be, like I said, there's been times that our men are in Virginia schedule and the women were in Columbus playing. So to have that the ability to rely on guys like a Jim or a Louis, I don't know, Chris Clark, who's been here for the last couple of years as more of a volunteer assistant. But yeah, it's a good continuity that they need. That, hey, my guys are there. I don't need to be at practice the whole time, because there's a lot of times the men are practicing or the women are practicing, and here we are on the field. You and I are calling a game, and they're still over behind the Packard Athletic Building practicing on the grass. So it's he's got a good group. He's always had a good group. You know, you can't tell guys to not look for other opportunities to become head coaches at high schools or other programs. But he's had these guys that definitely won't go away. And you from some of the guys that work for me, some of the young ladies on the team work for us. They really like Jim. They like Reed, so they know they can rely on either one of them, and they know they can go to whoever they have to.
Alex Elliott had unleashed a shot on the offensive end that was wide, and now Capital has yet another corner kick here in the first half. I feel like they've had at least 5. Well, maybe this will just be their 4th.
It just seems like it's over there all the time.
It certainly does. Ball was deflected right down to Widener. Thankfully, she didn't have to move laterally too far away from it. She rolls it free. We are inside 20 minutes remaining in the first half. No one has put the ball in the back of the net yet. Good hustle from Petticord. All the way from back in the defense. Working it toward the corner. Centering cross. Not much doing.
As I said earlier, that the Crusaders, it seems to be in the BWN, they've had 10 shots on goal, 10 shots, and 7 of them been on net. BW's taken 1 shot and had it on net, and that was Elliott's blast just a few minutes ago.
And there's no doubt Capital has held the ball offensively a lot more here in the early going. Far side for the Jackets. Capital throw in coming.
It's definitely really warm here tonight, Brendan, because the ball boy in the chicken costume took his hood off. He's now just a boy with a hat and a yellow jumpsuit.
Which is far less funny, and yet far more funny. Looking for Fike on the far side of the field.
It's unfortunate that the BW men's team isn't going to be in the tournament or hosting a game, because I remember a few years ago on Halloween Monday, tournament begins. The BW student body came out in full force. I had a Gumby and a Pokey out here, so we had some really interesting characters out here in costumes on Halloween.
That's hilarious.
And the even better thing, it was our men's golf team.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Usually you're counting on the hockey players or sometimes the baseball players. That was a vicious hit with the elbow. And we might see a booking. Fabrizi got smoked. No? Maybe not. The clock stopped with 16:57 left in the first half.
Just a stern talking to, no card.
So the Crusaders cleared away. It'll come back the BW direction. Poptic near midfield, looking around for it. That one was sent pretty violently toward the opposition side. I think Baldwin Wallace is probably pretty happy to still be in a scoreless game at the moment, given their lack of offensive opportunities and the number of shots Capital's put on net. Now, that being said, it's not like Capital has just consistently peppered the net with good shot attempts. They've just had the ball deep in that territory quite a bit.
And if you look at their stats, they're an overall playing team, that they don't just one person like we had Shelby Stevens of Ohio Northern, or you got Rachel Bender with 17 goals. Their leading scorer is 8. So they pass it. They don't rely on one person.
Cartmill's had a really impressive season. 8 goals, 4 assists, a couple of game winners. She and Claire Quinn have definitely been the 2 leaders of the offense, but they are not exclusively the offense. You don't like saying things like that, but what the heck, 28 of BW's 42 goals have come from 2 players. So in some regard, it's a fair statement. Cartmill played it toward the middle, headed high up into the air, off the crossbar. It falls free, and Widener picks it up. What a ridiculously lucky break for BW.
Got to give credit to Anna Poptic there, because the ball came off the post, and they were going to follow right in, and she took it right off their foot, and then Widener was able to scoop it up.
I mean, Cartmill was right there, and she just couldn't finish it. Another point-blank opportunity for the Crusaders. Can Bender and company turn it into something? Poptic chases it down for a moment. Less than 15 minutes left in the first half. No score from Finnie Stadium. Capital has only played in 1 overtime game all year. Baldwin Wallace has played in 3. For what that's worth. Bernard from the top of the 18, and she lost control. The Capital overtime game finished in a 2-2 draw at Mount Union as Widener makes a diving effort. Almost looked like she overdove at it. The ball nearly hit her in the head. Meanwhile, Baldwin Wallace's overtime efforts last week at Otterbein, and then they played back in September twice in a week stretch up at Penn State Barron and at Oswego State up in New York. More Capital threats. That one was hit right at the keeper. No big deal. Caroline Hester put it there. Fabrizi knocks a defender off the ball. And a BW throw-in coming. But first, a substitute. Cassandra Wakeman coming off the field. And here comes Kenna Poptic, freshman sister to the junior Anna. Thought Wakeman played pretty solid 32 minutes here at the outset. She certainly had the ball at her feet quite a bit. Well, Elliott and Schutz got a little tangled up. Nice give and go back to Poptic, and then she played it into no man's land. Look at the spin on that ball. Bender frees up, pulls the keeper all the way out, and a diving stop. The ball is deflected out of bounds. Hannah Klotsky got to the point of no return. She had to commit to the ball. Bender tried to play it toward the middle, and instead it deflected away.
First corner kick of the game for the Yellow Jackets.
Second, I believe. They had one, no, actually it's a third. They had one short corner earlier. That one's headed toward the net, and it's in! Goff there with the header! And the Jackets lead it 1-0 with 12 minutes left in the first half. You're right, they haven't had many opportunities, but that one slipped through a little bit too easily for the Crusaders. And Kelly Goff was there coming all the way up. In that set piece, she heads it in for her 4th goal of the year.
She's a dangerous piece out of the back end for sure, because she's a taller player that comes up and can put her head on the ball like she just did and found the back of the net.
Capital makes a substitution as freshman forward from Hilliard Darby High School, Carly Murray checks in. She takes the place of the freshman forward, Erin Bernard, who's from the east side of Cleveland. She went to Cleveland Heights High School. Kelly Goff's 4th goal of the season. Capital trying, as they have all first half, to strike quickly. Nothing doing there.
Aaron Bernard's brother, Nicholas, plays here for the Yellow Jackets on the men's team.
Sure does.
Or should I say he did play, as he was a senior, and they played their last game last night of the season.
Life after the game is over. It's a little bit difficult to make that adjustment. Bender went racing up the sideline, hoping for the give and go, but it didn't find her. You know, it's kind of interesting, Jeff. I've been fortunate to be around college athletics for a while at all different levels, divisions 1, 2, and 3. And everybody seems to think, as that ball is really fought for on the far side before it crossed out, everybody seems to think that Division 1 necessarily puts more effort than Division 2 or Division 3 in. And that's just not true. There's certain dollar amounts that are allocated to athletics at Division 1. And there's certain amounts of time that your coach can spend with you. Those are the two biggest differences. But, you know, you start to talk to some of these Division III athletes, and I don't think it's fair to say that they put in any less time or commit any less energy to their sport, no matter what they're doing, than any other athlete at any other bigger or smaller school. It really is a full-time job to be an athlete in college.
Definitely, and I don't want to say that Division I student athletes aren't in the classroom, because we know that there are some very bright Division I players, but Division III student athletes are definitely have to work. They have to really put their time management in. And over the years, I've seen it become more, you know, you would just hear about spring football for Division I, or they're practicing year round. The push has come now for Division III that they have their fall season. They have, if they're a spring sport, and then they have a spring season. So it's turned into a full-time job, like you said, and trying to maintain their grades. And, you know, the Ohio Athletic Conference is definitely one of the leaders with student athletes and All-Americans and academic All-Americans.
With under 10 minutes to go, nearly a header into her own net, Kelly Goff put the team on top 1-0. She nearly tied the game at 1 apiece. It's amazing if you spend any time around college athletes. Doesn't matter what sport. It doesn't matter if, you know, everybody thinks because Division I college football is such a big money sport, as is basketball. Those are the two that certainly draw a lot of the attention. But it's a lot of the Olympic sports. It's sports like women's soccer that, in my opinion, get underappreciated because these girls are putting in so much time and effort that you'll never hear about. So Rachel Bender goes flying up that far side. All of the travel that's part of playing games both in and out of conference. You mentioned all the stuff that they do when they're not technically in season. Heck, you talk about a program like the golf teams. They compete in the fall and in the spring whenever the weather's good.
Put in the tennis teams. They play from fall. They have a fall season and a spring season.
Sure do.
So yeah, like you said, the Olympic sports don't get the glamorous look like the prominent football, the basketball, the baseballs, the softball teams, but everybody is doing as much effort as anybody does. So
Ball rolls out of bounds in front of the BW bench. Just over 8 minutes left in the first half. I know that's one of the things Reed Ayers prides himself on is the team GPA and the way his girls compete in the classroom as well as on the field. This is a good group of kids, and I know he is certainly thankful for all the efforts that his seniors have put in, like Kelly Goff, like Kristen Lee and Kara Painter, Allie Lakey. They've really added a lot to this program.
We to follow that up, both the men and women last year were honored late this fall, which is kind of weird that it was last year's team, but they got honored by the National Coaches Soccer Association as an all-scholar team, All-American. I don't know what their exact title of it, the award is, but it's an academic all-American type award.
Just goes to show how much the words student athlete and in that order are stressed here at the Division III level. All right, so there's your D3 PSA for the day. Just over 7 minutes to go in the first half. Thanks to Kelly Goff's header, the Yellow Jackets have a 1-0 lead. Capital is automatically the number 2 seed in the tournament starting this week. The Yellow Jackets with a win would be the 5 seed going to Otterbein. If they draw or lose this game, then they'll be the 6 seed, and they would head to Mount Union on Tuesday.
I think they want to win this. They don't want to see another purple team right away out of the gate on Tuesday. Enough purple in a 4-day span.
There's only a couple in the conference. They open their season with Wisconsin Whitewater. There's some purple there too. BW has definitely possessed the ball on the offensive end a lot more here in the last 10 to 20 minutes. After the first half of this first half was dominated by 10 Capital shots. They've gotten a few more off, but haven't been with the same intensity that they had early on. Though, that being said, Capital is out shooting Baldwin Wallace 16-3 in the game. 11 saves already for Sophia Widener. A couple of subs coming on here for the Jackets. Looks like Alex Elliott's running off. Is that Bender on the far side too that's getting a breather? Sure. Yes. Looks like it. Morgan Dickman will take over in the midfield. That one big Sunday hop toward Hannah Klotsky.
And I believe the other player that came on was Hope Martin, number 22.
Okay.
To take Bender's slot.
Keep our eye on them over the final 5 minutes here in the first half. Jackets lead the game 1-0 on a beautiful, calm, and warm Saturday night in Berea.
Talk about the possession. Yes, Capital had it. It wasn't really Reed Ayers' starters because he, as a great coach does, he gives the opportunity for all of his seniors who sometimes aren't always your players. It's starting players, but some reserves. Give them a start in their last game. So, that might have something to do with it, that, wasn't the cohesive unit that was allowing them down and then pushing forward when you got everybody back on that was the normal starters.
Under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Widener came out and contested one at the top of the box. It's footed around a couple of times. Sent toward midfield. Nice play. Avoiding the defender. Played back toward the middle now. I don't think we referenced Jenna Zuberi when she came on. Senior midfielder from Canal Winchester in Central Ohio. Just over 4 minutes left in the half. Given the weather and the festivities of the day, there's a little bit bigger crowd here today than there was the other night when Ohio Northern was in town.
Yeah, when I got here, there was a little tailgate cookout going on outside of Finney.
Don't you love that?
And if there was that definitely wasn't happening on Wednesday night. There was probably, if there was a fire, it was everybody around it trying to stay warm.
Saw plenty of hot chocolate being consumed at that concession line at halftime last week. I should say on Wednesday. It wasn't even last week. It was this week. 3.5 minutes left in the first half as Haneke controls it back defensively. Dribbled around in the midfield. Carly Murray gives it up. Shoots, tries to pull it away. Played up. Everybody converges on it at 1 minute. Sophia Widener comes away with it.
2 number 14 sweepers for both teams can have an ability to launch a big ball down the field.
Monique Haneke certainly has that big leg. We've seen her take all those corner kicks. And we've talked a lot about Kelly Goff. Far side, Capital trying to set something up. But Kanapoptic was there to defend it away. 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Hainham got in the way for a moment, and it's lofted just over the top of the crossbar. Jenna Zuberi nearly found the back of the net. But a goal kick coming for Goff.
There's only so long that the Yellow Jackets are going to be able to hold that off that they're not going to find the back of the net. So got to start finding players and not letting them take that quick shot.
Capital is averaging nearly a shot every 2 minutes. Fabrizi plays it up. I don't know if Schutz tried to kill the ball and knock it straight down, but instead she really moved it too far forward. Not her best touch. About 90 seconds left in the first half. Do the Yellow Jackets have what it takes to add to this 1-0 lead?
That's definitely Schutz's trademark, though, that she tries to play that quick ball to someone. That one just got a little farther from her than she wanted.
Tried to play that one to Fabrizi. Rolled away harmlessly with a minute left. Capital seems to have pretty good speed along the outside. That one will roll harmlessly across the end line. And for some reason, Baldwin Wallace decides they want to bring on a sub. There's only 45 seconds left in the half. All right, so Amanda Casella coming on. Kelly Goff going off. If nothing else, it just killed 15 seconds worth of time. Far side for Becca Cartmill. She got knocked down pretty hard. Ball ricochets around in the middle with 10 seconds left on the clock. Capital's not giving in. And that will do it for the first half. Kelly Goff in the 33rd minute heads one in on Baldwin Wallace's third corner of the day. And the Yellow Jackets lead the game 1-0, surviving the first half. 17 shots and 11 on goal for the visiting Crusaders. But they don't put one past Sophia Widener, even though there were a couple of really close calls.
Definitely. I believe that is a career high in saves just in the first half for Widener. So going to have to keep that effort strong in the second half and see what happens here. BW's got what they wanted to do to give themselves that 5 seed. How can they hang on for it?
Lots more coming your way. In about 15 minutes, we'll have the second half. But it's the final game of the regular season in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Baldwin Wallace 1, Capital 0. We'll return with the second half in 15 minutes. You're listening to Yellow Jackets Soccer on BWYellowJackets.com. Ready for the second half at George Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's the Yellow Jackets on top of the Capital Crusaders 1-0 thanks to the fourth goal of the season by senior Kelly Goff. Alongside Jeff Miller, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for making BW Soccer a part of your Saturday night. Jeff, it was a first half that featured a boatload of Capital opportunities. 17 shots, 11 of them technically on net. Only 3 shots for BW, but they made theirs count.
Definitely, Brendan. 3 shots, 1 off a header and in. So, and all 3 of the BW shots were on net. So, 3 shots on goal, three shots, 11 saves for Sophia Widener. I believe is a career high in the first half. That's pretty impressive. She had a couple opportunities that the Crusaders looked like they were going to slip one by, and then the BW defense swiped it away off the end line right at the saving time there.
Yeah, you talk about keys to the second half. I'm not sure what more Capital could really feel like they have to do.
Put it in the net.
I mean, obviously that's that would be the difference, but they have had their chances.
Coming out in the second half, BW will be in there with their normal starting group out there after having the senior-laden starters in the first half to give everybody one last start in their career.
And the two teams switch sides, so the Jackets will move right to left in the second half. Corey Miller trying to chase that one down. She's got it at her feet. If you can see closely enough, depending on how large you've blown up the video feed on your computer screen or tablet, she has the green headband on as the defender, and she gives way to Miss Kelly Goff to send this one down. Goff with a decent boot, and Miller will run right after it. Played back up toward Courtney Schutz, who did not play much in the first half because a couple of those seniors up front got opportunities instead of her today. Kristen Lee and Kara Painter both in the starting lineup, but Schutz has essentially been out there ever since.
Capital bringing it forward.
Far side of the field, making a little run at it. Now just kind of knocked off stride, and Widener comes into it. So the Yellow Jackets moving up the left side of the field. Alex Elliott challenged it. Miller throws in for Schutz, looking for Rachel Bender. Hainham on the far side, nothing doing. Crusaders look a little out of sync at the moment, trying to figure things out. Baldwin Wallace finds Bender in the middle. Rachel Bender, well defended there by Petticord. She just turns and fires one off the mark. And we got a goal kick coming. Capital on the far side. Nope, not that time. If you're joining us a little late, these two teams are both headed to the OAC tournament this upcoming week. Capital's already clinched the 2 seed in the tournament. Baldwin Wallace has the lead, and if they win this game, they'll be the 5th seeded team in the tournament. Should they lose or draw, they would be seeded 6th, but guaranteed to play in the postseason. Nice little touch pass from Schutz. Finding Popdick, tried to slip it through to Bender. Beautiful try, but couldn't execute it. Alex Elliott pulls it away after Fike did not connect with her teammate.
Going in either as the 5th or 6th seed. I know you don't want to ever say you want to be a different seed, but I think the girls would probably want to just do the hour and 15-minute trip to Alliance than the 2-hour trip to
almost 2.5-hour trip down to Westerville
on a Tuesday night. So there's some more class time that they're gonna miss out on.
Got a free kick coming on the far side. Capital will send it away. Almost 5 minutes into the second half. Nice job raising up there by Hanem, going over the top of her opposition. Well, BW's won a lot of the free balls here at the start of the second half, and it's given them some momentum. But we saw how Capital could mount an attack quickly in that first half, and you don't want to give them too much space. Here's Zuberi. With the left foot, centering pass. Was in a dangerous spot, but Hanem got it free. Well, Schutz had the right idea, but she couldn't control her body well enough.
She wants to definitely play a quick, long ball down the sideline to Bender, and that's been the go-to bread and butter here at home on the turf for BW.
Play on as Poptic bit the deck. Around the far side, trying to get rid of it. Poptic chased it down. Crusaders roll it toward the net, and it's scooped up. That one came off of, I believe, Mary Hushey's foot. Well, Bender thought about chasing after it, but it was out of her zone. So the punt from Hannah Klotsky comes back the other way.
And that to be out of Bender's zone is not something that's usually happens.
Right,
she can get across the field in a heartbeat.
Yeah, she finds any open space and look out.
And congratulations to Rachel, as she was just named to the Casida Academic All District 7 team. She'll be now a part of the national ballot and looking to be a Casida All-American, Academic All-American.
Well, on top of the fact that she might be up for consideration just for her play on the field in All-American status with 18 goals on the season. She has done very well in the classroom. That's an award I'm sure she and her family are proud of. Congratulations to her as Bender finds it at her feet. A little touch pass right back to her from Elliott. She tried to send it toward the box. Elliott off one strike. Wide right by so close. Beg your pardon, that was Courtney Schultz on the shot.
Good look of probably the best look for either team so far in the second half.
Well struck. Nearly 7 minutes into the second half. 1-0 Baldwin Wallace. Schultz is there. Nope, not that time either. By the way, if you're interested in following the World Series tonight, I know that you might have the World Series on in the background while watching our game or listening to us. We'll keep you updated on that one along the way. Cubs are hosting the Cleveland Indians tonight. I know there's a lot of people that are from the area that could be watching tonight that might have an interest in that as well. I'll give you an update from the World Series here in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, the Yellow Jackets trying to take advantage here in the second half. Look at Bender off to the races. She beats a defender. One to beat. And it's into the side of the net.
That last touch by Bender just was a little too much for her. She wanted to get that extra push just to get past the defender, and it just got a little too much of it, and that's why it ended hitting the side of the net. But like I told you, Brendan, that's the play that they do all the time. Courtney Schutz just loves to give a quick, and it's like a cue ball, how the English is on and how much spin she puts on it just to lay it right where Bender can run onto it.
Jackets lead by a goal as Corey Miller touches it back to Poptic. Not a well-played ball toward the middle and easily turned over. Mary Bushy. Defense playing on the offensive half of the field. Capital really pressing everyone forward. Not a bad idea, but Kaylin Reinecke could not connect. And we have a goal kick.
Capital playing with a sense of urgency, but they really don't have to. It's not, I mean, you don't want to take a loss, but it's not going to hurt you. So it's like they need the win, and BW doesn't.
Crusaders on the near side. Rolled across. Monique Haneke. Now into the midfield. Reinecke gives it up to Zuberi. She lays it off near side. Played into the middle. Footed down. Right back to Zuberi. And she can't run back into her mistake. Goal kick coming.
Not only is it we talked about all the playoff implications here, but Reed Ayers would win his 150th BW women's all-time game here. He's over 300 career wins between the men and women at BW.
Wow. A very late whistle, and it gets blown against BW when it was Schutz that hit the deck. Interesting. All right, that promised update from the World Series. The Cubs scored first. Anthony Rizzo singled home Dexter Fowler. The Cubs took a 1-0 lead. But in the top of the second inning, Carlos Santana homered for the Cleveland Indians to tie the game at 1 apiece. Zuberi, from a tough angle, shot it high and wide of the net. Indians are still batting, but it is a 1-1 game in the second inning. There are 2 on with 2 out, and the pitcher, Corey Kluber, is at the plate. That's always kind of the wrinkle when you get to the World Series, where it's a slight advantage to the National League side of things. Those pitchers are used to hitting, although maybe this year on the American League side, when you can have the DH with as good as Kyle Schwarber has been for the Cubs this year, maybe it's an advantage for the Indians to not have the DH.
Definitely on that aspect.
Baseball's a fun, tactical game just like soccer, no doubt. Poptic tries to send it forward. It was deflected back to her. And that one rolled toward the middle of the field. Lauren Hainham trying to run it down, but it was sent past her. Big opportunity far side for the Crusaders. Played in by Cartmill to the backside. Fike could not turn and strike it. Rolls out of bounds. And it's a goal kick. Goff leans into it. Looking for Schutz in the middle of the field.
Capital quickly trying to get on Courtney Schutz there with 3 defenders right on her, so they don't let her have the opportunity to get that quick kick.
Numbers looking for Bender in the middle. She is there. Keeper is out of position, and the ball scooted free. Too bad. That was a golden opportunity for Bender. Miller heads it down in the middle of the field. In the far corner. And it's rolled out of bounds. Another goal kick coming. Goff once again into it. Almost 15 minutes into the second half. Bender from near midfield. Makes a move up, looking for Schutz, cutting through. And the foot race to the ball is won by Klutsky. Update from that World Series with Corey Kluber at the plate. We're just talking about the pitcher hitting. Well, he hit a sort of a swinging bunt to the third baseman. And Chris Bryant made his second error of the second inning. The Indians scored a second run, and they take a 2-1 lead. So the Tribe's on top, 2-1 in the top of the second at Wrigley. Played toward Poptic near side. She lofts it ahead, but nothing doing. Capitals only gotten 3 shots off in the second half after 17 in the first half, Jeff. It's been a much better defensive effort here for BW through the first 15 minutes.
More defense, stronger defense by the Yellow Jackets, and a more offensive punch. We said it the first 10 minutes of the first half, it was all Capital. Then it went to BW. Then it went back to Capital. Now it's BW's turn again.
Yeah, the offensive touches it's almost like they've been put together in better succession.
Reminds me how they're both playing. That it's like a game of runs in basketball. That
Right.
all of a sudden somebody's got the ball and they're going to keep shooting or possessing the ball, and then they go back and forth.
For Capital at the moment, it's about trying to put something together just to build a little momentum. Well, they might have an opportunity. Far side is Claire Quinn, the senior midfielder, all the way from Coto de Casa in California. Half an hour left in our match. Capital trailing 1-0 on the road to your Yellow Jackets thanks to a 33rd minute first half header from Kelly Goff, assisted by Courtney Schutz.
Only one more event on the Tressel Field and inside the George Finnie Stadium till lacrosse season, when the football team plays their final home game on November 12th.
Yeah, it's still a couple of weeks away. We did mention in the first half we would let you know how things went today across the other sports spectrum on the BW fall sports schedule. Very frustrating loss for the football team today on the road. An overtime loss. Was it 42-41?
42-41. Scored the touchdown, and instead of electing to kick the extra point to keep overtime going, they went for the win and unfortunately fumbled the ball on the way into the end zone for the 2-point conversion and the victory. Capital recovered in the back of the end zone to end the game.
So the Capital Crusaders knock off the Yellow Jackets, who still have only one win in the OAC this year. It came against Wilmington a couple of weeks ago in a game that was close, but a frustrating year for John Snell's group. Meanwhile, Fike had a momentary window when she tried to one-touch it to herself. Now Cartmill. And whistles blowing the centering pass because of an offsides. So the football team has a couple of games left in the regular season as we have a substitution here. Marissa Fabrizi checking back in, and that would be Alex Elliott, the junior, who heads on out. Football team is at Heidelberg next weekend. They'll play in Tiffin, and then wrap up the regular season with a pretty decent Ohio Northern club. Ohio Northern Polar Bears coming to Berea on the 12th of November.
Yeah, definitely Ohio Northern came out a little rough, losing their first 2 games, and then they've dropped one more since then, but not a team you want to see in your final game of the year.
1-0 BW with 27 minutes and change left in the game. Loose in the top of the box and whacked right at the keeper. Zuberi had it clean, but Widener was right in the middle of the net. She got it in okay. How about on the volleyball side of things? I know in the grand scheme of things, it's been a very successful year. Conference play has been a little more frustrating, but still at one point you were talking about how quickly, not if, but how quickly the team would get to 20 wins, which they have done at this point. Volleyball's getting ready for the OAC tournament.
Yes, finished the year at 23-5 and 5-4 in conference play. So 4 of their losses came in the Ohio Athletic Conference. When that the Ohio Athletic Conference is tough in volleyball. Back and forth the last few years, it's been Heidelberg and Ohio Northern at the top, and this year they flipped again. So Northern, who is ranked in the country at like 25th, so they had a rough patch too at the end, but they will enter the tournament next week as the 5th seed, and they will go to crosstown rival John Carroll who they played a great match against. They did lose to John Carroll, but it was the only 5-set match of the year for the Yellow Jackets.
This one played into the corner and across the end line for a goal kick. Obviously such a terrific start for the volleyball program, and it would be great if they could find a couple of wins in conference. You talk about Heidelberg and Ohio Northern. If memory serves me correct, Mount Union has also had really good volleyball teams the last decade.
Yeah, they, for whatever reason, BW has not played well against Mount Union in volleyball. I think it's 12 straight.
Hard foul on the far side. Fabrizi, the culprit, and so a free kick. Just outside the 18. This is easily Capital's best set-piece chance so far here in the second half.
And the volleyball program under second-year head coach Scott Carter has been 20-plus wins in his first 2 years. So he's turning the program back around to the powerhouse that they were back in the mid of the century, I would say. You know, they were a powerhouse in the mid-'90s too, and you know the early 2000s they were at the top of the conference as well.
BW marches 10 yards off the ball. One of the ball boys' balls had rolled onto the field.
It wasn't the chicken.
Here it comes, diving stop by Widener. Well done by the young keeper. Still a 1-0. It was a well-struck shot, too, from Becca Cartmill. This one too far forward. And let's give a little love to the cross-country team, too. I know when we talk about fall sports, we've pretty much only focused on soccer and volleyball and football. You mentioned the men's soccer team earlier as Courtney Schutz checks out of the game here. We've got a couple of subs, Wakeman leaving as well. You mentioned men's soccer's final game of the season was last night. But how about the cross-country team and what we've seen from the other fall sports?
Yeah, cross-country competed today at the Ohio Athletic Conference Championships down in Delaware, Ohio, on the campus of Columbus State Community College, hosted by Capital. So it's been a busy weekend for Capital. But both teams finished sixth.
Okay.
Sophomore Kelly Brennan earned her second straight All-OAC honor as she finished 13th of 125 runners.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, so Kelly is a very talented young lady. The young team for Coach Eby in his second year, trying to reestablish, I'm going to just keep saying it, reestablishing the dominance that these teams that you once had that have gone away for a little bit lately, but they're going to get back. Coach Eby's got some strong young runners. On the women's side, freshman Bella Pendola was the second runner, just missed being All-OAC by 6 runners, so she's made strides all year. The men were sixth as well, and they were led by a junior, Dylan Tanner, who had a great run today because he actually had a career best time. So he had a great showing today for the Yellow Jackets. Outside of that, the fall teams are, like we said earlier, the tennis teams and the golf teams are all wrapped up about 2 weeks ago. Actually, tennis was done in early September or late September. Swimming already started, too, here on the campus. So things are already switching. This is the third meet of the year already for the swimming teams, and congratulations to both of them as they both knocked off Bethany College tonight out of West Virginia. So good start for Laura Wolf. Her women's team is 2-1 early on. The men got their first win, so they're 1-2, but you know, very good for start for Laura Wolf and the swim teams. She's a very young team. Got one All-American in Tyler Thompson on the men's side, and a lot of her female All-OAC performers graduated, so it's a rebuilding year, but very impressed with some of the freshmen that she brought in, and she's very happy and told me last week when asking who I should nominate for Players of the Week, and she's like, well, keep an eye on this one and keep an eye on this girl, and how about this young man. So there's a lot of them out there that it's going to be names that you're going to see a lot more, that it's not just going to be the same name. So swimming's off and running, and then
swimming's off and running.
Yeah,
huh?
off and swimming, off and diving. I don't know splashing around. trying to making waves. How about that one?
There we go.
But yeah, and then the wrestling team starts their grappling. All right, I'll try to get you going here with their grappling a week from Thursday night.
Oh my goodness.
So, and then basketball is not far off. I can't believe that
Couple of weeks.
Can't believe I'm going to say that it's November on Tuesday already, and
Unbelievable.
So 2 weeks from Tuesday night,
That's right.
basketball season has arrived.
Maggie Petticord running down the far sideline, trying to bring it back in. Capitals had a few chances bringing the ball up the field, but most of them have resulted in goal kicks. About 20 minutes left in our game, at least in regulation, and at the moment it's 1-0. The Capital Crusaders trailing your Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. You're talking about swimming. Are the OAC Championships hosted again this year at the University of Akron, or are they somewhere else?
They're at the University of Akron.
Okay.
They have a great natatorium, the Ocasek Natatorium, and not sure. I can't remember the gentleman that runs the pool that does such a great things for us and allows us in there. So it's a great venue, for these young student athletes that are back to here. We are talking about Division III, and then you go and see a pool like the University of Akron's. But then again, I got to say, I've been down to Kenyon College and Denison University and the NCAC, and their pools probably put the University of Akron to shame because,
Wow.
I mean, they're big swimming, and when you win 27 national championships in swimming, you're going to have a pretty good pool.
No doubt about that. Corner kick thwarted away, and the Yellow Jackets avoid an issue. Under 20 minutes left in regulation.
And to go back on that, the funny thing with Kenyon, when they were winning most of their national championships, they didn't even have a home pool to host the NCAC championships. They actually only had a 3-lane pool.
Get out of here.
And then now they built this palace, and of course then Denison knocks them off, so they build a palace. So
how about that? Becca Cartmill finds the ball at her feet again, but Kelly Goff sliding tackles it away. But a lot of chances and touches in good opportunities for Capital, but you could tell BW's defense is really bunching in as that one went right into Sophia Widener.
it's become the Capital run now. I mean, it's probably the last, 10, 15 minutes, the ball's been in the BWN, and that strong defensive unit led by Goff and actually Haynham, Miller, and Osborne have kept them off the board.
Throw in coming for the Crusaders. Bender sends it back into the defense. Rolls all the way back to the keeper, Klotsky. Hannah Klotsky from Avon, Indiana. Not Avon, Ohio, which is a western suburb of greater Cleveland. Kind of a breakaway here, but with good defense right on her heels, Bree Osborne ran it all the way down. Well done.
Looked like a little bit of a pushing match trying to get to the ball, but Osborne would not relinquish her ground. Corner kick coming for the Crusaders.
How about 15 saves today from Sophia Widener? Freshman goalkeeper having a career day on senior day. Another corner kick coming. This will be the 8th corner of the game for Capital. Dangerous spot, but it's knocked away. This time, a ball that rolls into the other corner and a corner kick. So far, Kelly Goff's 33rd minute header has provided the game's only goal. A win for BW, and they're the 5 seed on Tuesday going to Otterbein. A draw or a win for Capital, as this one comes in low and Haynham clears it free. A Capital win or a draw would send BW to Alliance to play Mount Union on Tuesday in the 3-6 game in the conference tournament. 17 minutes away from a win on senior night, but that is still a ton of time.
So we talked about the road going out for the Yellow Jackets, playing the top 2 teams. Capital has actually shown more shots on goal than Ohio Northern did. They scored 2 goals and won 2-1, but they only took 4 shots.
And as we mentioned, both of those goals came in the first 15 minutes of the game. Ohio Northern then just kind of packed it in defensively. PW had some chances in that second half. They converted one, but could not find the equalizer.
I take that back. Ohio Northern had 13 shots, but only 4 of them were on goal. So in 2 games this week, Widener's had 17 saves against the best 2 teams in the conference.
Well, if that doesn't give her confidence, I'm not sure what will. She has been awfully busy tonight. Of course, Widener for a while this year was not the sole keeper on this team. Another freshman, Emma Bruno, has played and played well. But at the moment, it's Widener that's giving this Yellow Jacket group a chance to run into the OAC tournament.
Yeah, Widener pretty much took over and got the starter role from Coach Ayers. Probably, I want to say about 5 or 6 games ago that he said, "This is my goalkeeper for the remainder of the year." She earned it. It's hers.
So a throw-in coming near side from Maggie Petticord, freshman defender from Buckeye Valley High School down in Delaware. Foul on the play. So free kick coming for the Capital Crusaders.
Everybody's in the defensive end for the Yellow Jackets now, because right before this series, they cleared it out, and Bender was all the way down on the 20-yard line here on Tressel Field of the football field and ran it all the way down to the 30-yard line of the opposite side.
Sophia Widener grabs it on one bounce and sends it away. Rachel Bender looks a little bit winded, though she hasn't done a ton tonight. Was well struck back into the defense and headed, thankfully, easily and directly at Widener.
She doesn't need any extra work, and from our
doesn't need her own players heading him back toward her.
Got to play the header back to her so she could use her hands, but you don't want to take those chances.
Lofted forward and headed down. Well, nice job by Claire Quinn to step in the way. Becca Cartmill running after it. Instead, it's actually Hester who gets over in the area, and the ball rolls out of bounds on the sideline. So a throw in coming.
I wouldn't doubt to think in the next 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes that you're going to see Courtney Schutz and Alex Elliott back off the bench to make that final push with Bender to maybe sneak another one in.
Another throw-in coming for Capital. Well, there's no doubt that in the time that those two ladies have not been on the field, their replacements have held their own. One of those two is Morgan Dickman, who's playing on the left mid. How about another corner kick for Capital?
Why not?
This will be their 10th of the game. They have not converted one yet. If they do, it'll tie things up with 13 minutes left in the game. High arcing kick, headed clear. And the BW defense holds again for a moment. Mary Bushy rolls it to the middle of the box, and a goal kick.
That's how BW scored, off a corner kick.
That's right.
And it is the same goal, so
it was the same corner.
Yeah, maybe we need to make sure they don't get that corner anymore.
Goff on its way toward midfield. A lot of physicality, especially with Petticord and Bender at midfield. It's been a fun matchup to watch. Near side looking for Bender. Good foot control. Well, that time maybe a little too hot for Hope Martin. She kind of flinched and tightened up a little bit. High punt from Klotsky back to the middle of the field. Capital's trying to win its 10th game of the regular season. They are 9-6-1, despite being 6-1-1 in conference play. Played a brutal non-conference schedule. 2 top 10 teams. They also played a couple of teams who are highly ranked regionally, like DePauw and Wittenberg. It's a very difficult beginning of the season for them. Just over 11 minutes left in the game. Vike. Well, she can't turn the corner around Corey Miller. And Miller clears it away on the side. So throw in coming. There it goes into the corner. That one just harmlessly rolls away. And corner kick number 11 for the Crusaders. 25 shots, 16 on goal. But they trail 1-0. Will this be the magic moment for Capital? We've seen Monique Haneke all game long send him in. This was probably not her best effort on the corner kick. Had it around a few times. Fabrizi and Hanem are both there, and now a Baldwin Wallace foul. Just outside the top of the 18.
Actually, I think Claire Quinn actually took that last corner for the Crusaders, because I saw Haneke back at the defense. I don't think they're going to let her come up right now.
I beg your pardon. Thanks for the correction.
I think they're trying to keep her deep, so if Bender takes off running, they have their striker waiting, even though she is up close.
Well, Claire Quinn is going to take this free kick. 10 minutes to go. Too high, but not by much.
Through the uprights of the field goal post.
All right, there you go. Alex Elliott's back on. Hope Martin on the way back to, I beg your pardon, that's Ellie Lakey who comes on, the senior. And Hope Martin heads back to the sideline.
Putting a more defensive-minded player in at midfield for the final 9:20.
And that closing speed on that outside from Kelly Goff was impressive. She ran from all the way in the middle of the box and beat the defender to the ball, sliding to knock it out of bounds. Great effort. One of the best in the country at her job for sure.
Going to be a hard replacement to find a sweeper like her.
Under 9 minutes to go. Goff sends it toward the middle. A poor header for Baldwin, or rather for Capital, and Bender goes racing after it. But Klotsky decided to come out and strike it first. 16 saves tonight for Sophia Widener, a career high. And most of those in the first half. But Capital has been relentless in their opportunities this evening. Bender just behind the back line. Too bad. Under 8 minutes to go.
Capital not pushing that ball quickly back up. They're taking their sweet time. Like they're the one up 1-0.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. This outcome does not have great effect for them. They are the number 2 seed going into the playoffs. That was a really well-played ball by Bender, but just a little too far in front of Marissa Fabrizi. Good idea.
Think you'd rather go in to the tournament on a 4-game winning streak than a loss. So
I totally hear you on that point. They have not lost a game since October 8th. Bender on the clear. She touched it too far ahead, and she can't keep it in front. Then she lobs it toward the net, and Fabrizi finishes. How did Bender get to that before it crossed the end line?
that is just the closing speed I told you about. She got by everybody originally. The keeper came out, tried to slide her. She chipped her, and then it was just a little too much for her just to tap it in and just saved it and crosses it over to a streaking Fabrizi.
Third goal of the year for Marissa Fabrizi, and it's a deadly goal. 2-0 BW with just over 7 minutes left.
And she's going to go to the bench right there. Cassandra Wakeman back in. So Reed taking offenders for defenders and a chance to keep it going. Here comes Bender already.
Bender stole a bad pass from a Crusader. Lobs it toward the backside. Looking for Anna Poptic. Well, Lakey got turned around. And the Crusaders take it away as Hester sends it forward. Becca Cartmill with a nice move. Avoided a defender, and now a free kick.
This will be definitely bittersweet for the Yellow Jackets. Sat in on an interview with Rachel Bender earlier in the year, and the interviewer asked her, other than John Carroll, who's John Carroll's your rival, obviously being across town. Who's the team other than John Carroll? And she said, we always have something with Capital. So this is going to be bittersweet for her to get the victory if it stays this way.
Well defended again. Baldwin Wallace's defense tonight has been thoroughly tremendous. Under 6 minutes to go. And it's out of bounds.
Bender's going to get a well-deserved break after this game if she doesn't come out before it. She's all over the place still. She was back in the defensive end and now is running around. You can see the exhaustion starting to set in on her a little bit, but she's not going to quit. She wants this win to go into the tournament.
She has been really good tonight. 5.5 minutes left. 2-0 Baldwin Wallace. 33rd minute goal from Kelly Goff and an 83rd minute goal from Marissa Fabrizi. By the way, Bender got her 9th assist of the season.
One off the OAC to tie the OAC lead.
I'm not really sure you could argue much anymore. I think Bender has to be the player of the year. Are those awards voted on before the conference tournament?
I'm not sure. I think they vote the Monday after the tournament, but I don't think the tournament games can go into
consideration.
But I'm not sure because they won't count. They'll count as our overall stats, but I don't believe they count in the stats for the OAC records. So I'm not sure though. I could be wrong on that.
Interesting. All right. Well, Widener sends it away. Anyways, it probably won't be long before we find out that Bender is, at a bare minimum, a lock for first-team all-conference performer. Petticord steals it away.
Well, how it's going right now, it's going to be a battle of the two leading scorers in the OAC on Tuesday night in Alliance between Nicole Lanise and Rachel Bender. Lanise has got Bender by 1 goal.
Well, that wouldn't be correct, right? Because if Baldwin Wallace wins a game, they go to Westerville.
Go to Westerville. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if BW loses the game, then they would go to Alliance.
Well, then, never mind what I did.
But there's a chance that those two could meet later in the tournament. I don't want to discount what you're saying. I just want to make sure we get the matchups right. The Otterbein Cardinals with a 2-goal lead here for BW and only 3.5 minutes left. It appears that the Otterbein Cardinals are looming for the OAC tournament. The John Carroll Blue Streaks would go to Alliance to play the Mount Union Purple Raiders. A little too far ahead.
Yeah, all the scenarios lately in the OAC the last few years in these tiebreakers, and it just, you never know. So I apologize for the confusion from me that I can't remember where they're going to.
That's okay. Last Wednesday, for a little while, remember we thought that Ohio Northern could have clinched that night and then realized, you know what, Capital still had something to say about that today should Ohio Northern have lost earlier. Now, they took care of business, so Capital will be the number 2 seed going into the tournament. 2:45 left in the game. We got a goal kick coming for Henna Klotsky. Ellie Lakey's ponytail swung high up in the air, and I think it actually hit the ball on the way through.
Good defense.
Yeah, right. Slow the ball down a little bit. Jackets just trying to play keep away here for a moment as they send their seniors off of their home field for the final time on a happy note. Kelly Goff, the senior from Hudson. Kristen Lee, a senior from Westerville. Kara Painter, a senior from Fort Thomas, Kentucky, which is in the greater Cincinnati area. And actually, that is, if I'm not mistaken, the home of Thomas More. And senior Allie Lakey, the defender from the northern Cincinnati suburbs. Those 4 seniors were recognized at halftime along with their parents. Just a minute 45 left in the game. And Kara Painter coming back on. Senior will get to finish senior day on the field.
Classy move by Reed Ayers to try and get your team on, especially with a 2-goal lead and a minute and 35 left. Why not put a reserve player back in to get some more time on her last career game here?
When you are the leading team within 5 minutes to go in the game, the clock stops on a substitution, so that was not a move to kill any time, just to get the senior out on the field. It rolls away. With the win, Baldwin Wallace is going to improve to 11-8-1 going into the OAC tournament. They snap a 2-game losing streak at Otterbein and to Ohio Northern going into the tournament play. And they hand Capital just their second conference loss all year as Painter is called for another touch foul. The only other team to beat Capital in the regular season was Ohio Northern. Played ahead, and a little ball that was popped right into the waiting arms of Sophia Widener. 18 saves for Widener tonight. Just a fabulous effort in goal. She's going to pitch a shutout most likely. Corey Miller sends it forward with under 30 seconds left in the game. Another foul.
Picking on the senior Painter, I guess, now the referee.
9 fouls on the Yellow Jackets tonight. 15 seconds left. Capital will fall to 9-7-1. Widener picks up another one in a loose spot, and that'll do it. The Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets defend home turf. A 2-0 win at home thanks to Kelly Goff and Marissa Fabrizi. The Yellow Jackets with momentum going into the tournament, and the seniors go home happy. Final score tonight, BW 2, Capital 0. Jeff, any final thoughts?
Good luck on Tuesday night in Westerville to the Yellow Jackets. Good luck to our volleyball team in University Heights.
You mentioned there's only one more outdoor event here at Tressel Field at George Finnie Stadium remaining here in the regular season, and that is a football game 2 weeks from today when the Ohio Northern Polar Bears come to town. Hopefully you can catch that broadcast. We'll have it here live on BW.